I'm a big fan of opera. I know this puts me in a minority, and I can understand why a lot of people find it off-putting. When you hear a bit of opera out of context, it just sounds rather screechy and rather a lot to take in. And the reason for that is the whole point of opera is the drama and the emotion. A good opera aria is basically explaining how someone feels and feeling strong emotions. It's a very emotional experience, and to get that emotional experience, you need the build up of the rest of the opera. So, really, the whole thing comes as a package, and it's not surprising if you haven't put in the required effort, you don't really get much out of it, as is so much in life. But the thing about opera is the music's great, the scenery and the acting is usually superb, and the whole thing's a great spectacle. What it doesn't have are great plots. Opera plots are generally pretty stupid, but the interesting thing is the music and the spectacle overcomes that, and you still find yourself sharing the experience of the rest of the audience and the cast and getting sort of sucked into something that really sort of hits you deep down. It's a great experience, and I think it's quite interesting that the emotion is far more important than the logic. You don't go away from an opera thinking, well, that was a bit of a daft plot, wasn't it? You go away remembering a great and memorable experience. And I think that has got something to do with what the Brexiters really want. It's been something of a mystery to many of us who are on the Remain side of the argument, trying to find out just what these guys are trying to get out of Brexit. They all say different things. What they do say very rarely makes much sense. And it's just a sort of, what are these people on? And I think, in a way, we don't understand Brexiters in the same way that many people don't understand opera. It's all about emotion. It's something they really deeply feel. And I think what they were really looking forward to was a great cathartic experience, a sort of shared national event when we throw off the chains of the European Union and all flood out onto the streets to reclaim our liberty, waving our flags around and just generally having the sort of feeling that you normally need to, probably not even winning a World Cup would do it, more winning a war. And that, I think, is what they crave. It's that desire for something great and British and, something that is an experience you cannot have in any other way. Which is why the whole thing's been really disappointing for them and why they're getting so annoyed with us Remainers. For a start, the vote was too close to have quite the triumphant experience I think many of them were looking forward to. But even so, they still sort of kept on with it. And they were getting more and more frustrated at the way things were going, not so much because their great Brexit ideals were being betrayed, because I don't think they actually had any great Brexit ideals. What we were doing was ruining the spectacle that they wanted and wrecking the narrative that they had built up in their heads. So when you see like 1 million people marching in London in defence of the EU, I mean, that's, how does that work? We're supposed to be loving the fact that we're no longer in the EU. And when you see people waving European Union flags, I mean, what's the harm in that? Well, it's wrecking the narrative. And unfortunately, because of the way things have turned out, we've now got to the stage where so many people are so fed up of it. The whatever date is picked as the date of marking our departure, which I think is looking like the 31st of January. It's going to be just a day like any other. The sun will rise, we'll leave the European Union, sun will set, and we'll get up the next morning and get on with our normal business. So the Brexiters will not get their fantastic day of national rejoicing. They certainly won't get it commemorated for years to come as the country's Independence Day, as Nigel Farage was once suggesting. So basically, the way Brexit has turned out has been much like going to the opera and somebody's mobile phone going off during your favourite aria, and that's how you're going to remember it for the rest of your lives. Sorry guys, that's the way it's turned out. It wasn't planned on our part. The Remainers haven't gone out of their way to do this. It's just we don't buy the story, and there's nothing we can do that can make us buy it any more than if you're not an opera fan, you can suddenly start enjoying opera just to keep people around you happy. So that's my really unique analysis of Brexit. You won't hear it anywhere else, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.